Hello everyone, welcome back to the most hardcore EA FC tactical channel. In this episode, we continue to bring you an in-depth analysis of the FCT content. In previous videos, we systematically introduced almost all the attributes and related effects of the players. Now that we have a sufficient foundation of information and have organized the player data, we are finally entering the card review segment, which should be the content that players are most interested in and eager to hear about. First, let's talk about the overall rules. 1. FCT players have a high degree of freedom in building, allowing for custom attributes strengthening, freely matched traits, and skill moves. 2. There are clearly 3 different levels of 3-star players, Premium and Icon, Seasonal, though the game no longer calls them this, we'll continue to refer to them as Seasonal for ease of distinction, and regular players. Thus, when evaluating all the cards together, I need to consider a lot of factors. Since this is the first video discussing card reviews, it's important to clarify all these considerations. Regarding evolution, since endgame PvP players will definitely be the main focus of resource investment, although evolution resources are very hard to obtain, you will accumulate some tactical points in the early stages to draw duplicate players, or participate in various activities in PvP to get crystals for player evolution. Hence, we'll default to considering attributes at the 4th stage evolution. For attribute strengthening, I've previously detailed how to calculate the value for attribute strengthening. Unlike Captain Tsubasa, FCT's attribute system is too complex, making it impossible to maximize even a single attribute. You can choose to strengthen 2 to 5 attributes at the same time, with different focus, and there's no optimal solution. It largely depends on player preference. Therefore, when strengthening attributes, you must factor this in, as it's a key factor in differentiating card types. Based on my understanding of the game, I've summarized possible strengthening directions for different player positions, which is as follows. There are 5 categories, and each with its own strengthening directions. Forward, focus on shooting, with a minor focus on dribbling and defense. OMF, focus on offensive duel, with a minor focus on shooting and defense. DMF, focus on defensive duel, with a minor focus on offense. DF, focus on blocking, with a minor focus on tackling and dribbling. GK, catching and punching. Note that these categories are not position dependent. For example, an AMF focusing on shooting would be treated according to the FW strengthening direction. To account for all scenarios, I've allocated more points to the players than they can actually obtain, allowing for extreme cases like a striker wanting to strengthen defensive attributes. Hence, actual player attributes won't exceed the proposed direction. Now let's talk about traits. 1. Since subtraits can be completely freely dismantled and learned, the attribute strengthening calculation does not consider all subtraits, even the S traits of regular players, as other players can also learn these traits. 2. Correction for the number of subtrait slots. Considering regular players have 4 subtrait slots, seasonal players 1, and premium or icon players 3, I will make corrections for players of different levels. The current correction solution is 1 trait slot equals 4% overall attribute, as 4% is the value of many S traits at LV10. The situation is too complex to discuss in detail, but I believe this is a good estimation. Regarding skill moves, all are calculated based on the highest power of all category S or skills at level 10, i.e., S skill at 223 power, a skill at 191 power. Special S or skills in the main skill set, as well as SS skills, are also included in the calculation. For high or low ball proficiency, as previously mentioned, different players in FCT have different bonuses for high or low ball proficiency. I don't have game data and testing takes too much time, so I can only make a simple estimate. Roughly, good at equals 7.5% bonus, very good at equals 12.5% bonus. These values are approximate averages and will be updated with more game data in the future. Finally, the types of bonuses in data calculation also need extensive game testing, which I currently don't have time for. So, for now, we'll completely follow the calculation formulas of Captain Tsubasa. The similarity between the two games is high, and in the absence of other information sources, it's a relatively safe assumption. I've done some simple testing of a few data points, and they generally match, so we'll start with this and make changes later. Having discussed the general rules, let's now officially enter the card review segment. Wojciech Szczęsny, Polish goalkeeper, playing for Juventus. This is his third version in the game and the second premium card. From the various versions' illustrations, it's evident that he likes to roar. The previous TOTS Premium was a catching version, and this time it's a punching version. Looking at the basic stats distribution, punching seems to be a bit higher than catching, which makes sense. His power is very high, which is great because power boosts both punching and catching. However, it's unreasonable that his technique is so much higher than his speed. Calculated, his punching is 10,558 and his catching is 10,577. At the beginning of the game, all players' basic stats distribution tends to be bucket-like, and goalkeepers are no exception. Punching and catching are often almost the same after calculation. This situation will definitely change as the game develops. The biggest problem with bucket-type players is that basic stats are wasted on less important attributes. The noteworthy point about this card is its extremely high stamina, nearly 1500, which not only stands out among goalkeepers but is also the highest in the whole game. The second highest stamina is only close to 1400, coupled with the fact that he is a punching goalkeeper, he is very practical. The recommended SAP distribution is punching and power and speed at 5. If you're not at 4-stage evolution, then prioritize punching, followed by an average distribution between power and speed. Then let's look at the trait setup. The main trait in the first slot is S++ level anti-long shot, which is a very good functional trait for goalkeepers, preventing long shots from outside the box. As an S++ level, it can get up to 15% bonus, with a value of 36k+, making him the top player in preventing long shots. The main trait in the second slot is a level anti-type technique. Since he is a power attribute goalkeeper, he has a natural attribute advantage over technique attribute strikers, combined with this trait, achieving a double-barreled approach. However, it only adds 2.8%, and currently, the most dominant strikers are more of power and speed attributes, so I think it's just average. For the remaining 3 subtraits, I recommend stacking 3 punching masters. This trait is available on 2 regular players, so the chance of acquisition is quite high. Stacking 3 would give an additional 12% punching attribute, which is very strong. Other traits have more options, so I won't go into detail. There's not much to say about skill moves. 260 SS punching is an absolute lifeline. Due to his high stamina, the consumption of SS punching is not high, and no extra skill moves are needed for direct use. In terms of attributes, when facing a shoot, his punching is 31.4k, currently the highest in the game. He doesn't have any extra ability against air shots, and both high and low ball are good, usually inferior to strikers, so we won't discuss in detail. Currently, there are quite a few strikers with power and speed above 35k, so he's not invincible. It's worth mentioning that the last round of Icon Pool SS player Cantona is currently the strongest striker with the highest long shot attribute in the game. I feel this goalkeeper is very targeted at this striker, with both traits perfectly countering. However, due to Cantona's high data, there's still no chance of advantageous punching if he shoots from within the box. In summary, this is currently the strongest goalkeeper in the game, and the only usable power attribute goalkeeper, with very strong attribute to prevent long shots from outside the box. His stamina is outstanding, extremely durable, 5-star rating, highly recommended. CHIESA. This is the second card of this player in the game and the first premium card. The previous one was seasonal. The previous card was LW plus LM, and this one added the RW position, which is very good, greatly increasing the flexibility in team management. Both wings can be played, but the main position is LM. As a midfielder, his defensive attribute is weak, and he can't get a 10% stamina bonus when placed as a winger, which is a bit regrettable. On basic stats distribution, his offensive attribute is relatively strong and evenly distributed, all around 11k, very good. Defense is relatively weak, especially in tackling, which will be disadvantageous in midfield duels. Speed is good, stamina average. Main trait 1 is SS level invincible extension 30%, main trait 2 is a level touchline master, with the main skill being S plus dribbling and the secondary skill being A plus shooting with 205 power. Overall, this is a player designed for wing breakthroughs. On the sidelines, he can get a 4.2% overall attribute boost combined with his own S plus dribbling, resulting in a 33.8k dribble and 32.7k pass and 1-2. He poses a significant offensive threat in duels, especially when leveraging attribute or full power advantages for offensive dominance. Invincible extension can provide a longer invincibility period after winning a duel, approximately 4 seconds. This can be used to quickly sprint to the baseline and pass the ball to the striker for a shot. Even if you don't feel confident, you can sprint into the penalty area for a ground pass. As he doesn't have any bonuses near the goal, his own A plus shooting skill of 205 power is relatively low. It's generally not recommended to go down the shooting path, and even with an S shooting skill, his shooting attribute of 31.1k is not outstanding. He should rely on countering attributes to gain an advantage over the goalkeeper. His own defensive attributes are relatively weak. However, if you use invincible extension wisely and combine it with winning defensive duels, you can launch an effective defensive counterattack. Therefore, his defensive attributes should be strengthened as much as possible. The recommended build is as follows. For skills: by S passing plus S tackling plus S intercepting from the shop. S12 is a bit harder to obtain, but using a 1-2 for duels is also fine. S shooting is not necessary, just use the innate A plus shooting. For traits: to increase defensive ability, acquiring a challenger's impact from the store is essential. Other directions for building include enhancing wing attack dominance, the most suitable is area master touchline. Also can strengthen dribbling attribute like skill move level up dribbling, enhance dribbling, weaken tackling, etc. Other attribute strengthening traits are also suitable, I won't list them one by one. SAP distribution is as shown in the image. This is a recommendation, not the only or best solution. In summary, this is a decent auxiliary winger with some functionality. If built well, he can be quite practical. I'd give it 4 stars. RABIOT. Also the game's second version, the first premium version, with the previous one being seasonal. Both versions have the same positions, mainly CM, secondary LM. In terms of basic stats distribution, dribbling and passing are around 11k, quite good. Defensive tackling is 11k, intercepting 10k, also not bad. No shooting and blocking abilities. Traits and skill moves: main trait 1 increases stun time after winning a duel, which is relatively insignificant for this type of player. Main trait 2 is middle third, decent, but the 2.8% data isn't high. It's limited by being an A-level trait. Main skill move is passing, secondary skill is tackling. Overall, this is an offensive midfielder focused on distribution. Can use his own S passing to dominate, serving as the first distribution point at the start of the match against opposing forwards, increasing the stun time of the opponent, slowing down counterattacks. Defensive attribute is not prominent and needs some build to strengthen. Recommended build: S dribbling is not crucial, A level is fine. Intercepting definitely needs an S level from the store. A plus tackling can be temporarily used as it is. For traits: acquiring a challenger's impact from the store to increase duel ability is a must. If you want to increase distribution dominance, strengthen passing attribute, or stack middle third. Other general attribute strengthening traits are also good. SAP distribution is as shown, a recommended scheme, but you can also focus more on passing to increase dominance. Overall evaluation: A defensive midfielder biased towards distribution, with decent dual abilities, not very functional, a standard 4-star card. Bremer. Also the second version, a premium version, with the first being seasonal. Both are CB positions. CB position requires high defensive attributes, especially blocking. The player's blocking and tackling are 11k, intercepting 10k, qualifying as a competent defense. Offensive attribute is less than 9k, weak. Stamina 1129 is low, as blocking consumes a lot of stamina. Traits and skill moves. S+ duelist to get a 10% attribute bonus after winning a duel, very useful. Main trait 2 reduces opposite's attribute when facing shooting, significantly restricting strikers. Main skill S+ blocking is very fitting for the player's setup. In summary, he is a dual-type all-around center back, with enough attributes under the enhancement of duelist. Main blocking plus trait 2 can greatly limit strikers. Build recommendation is quite straightforward. S tackling and S intercepting from the store are essential. Default A tackling can be used temporarily. Offensive skill moves can all be A level, as winning the duel guarantees success and losing guarantees failure. For traits, adding another duelist to solidify defense is a good idea. Stacking several automatic intercepts to increase map defense against over-the-top passes is also recommended. Defense third or other versatile defensive traits are also great if available. SAP distribution as shown, you can use this to increase defensive attributes or add some offensive attributes for more versatility. Conclusion: currently the number 2 blocking center back in the game, inherently strong with S+ duelist, a very reliable center back, 5 stars for now. Vlahovic. The game's first card for this player. A standard center forward striker. In terms of basic stats distribution, shooting is close to 12k, dribbling 11k is also strong, passing 9.6k is weak, defense weak at less than 8.5k. Stamina 1160 is not high. Traits and skill moves. S+ shooting and A+ dribbling seem to be the standard for this type of striker, though I'd prefer A+ passing or 1-2 to use S dribbling to strengthen breakthrough attribute. Main trait 1 is Penalty Master, a fairly average trait for a striker, as it only adds bonuses inside the box and doesn't enhance out-of-box dominance. Main trait 2 adds 2.8% to shooting, already factored into the data, resulting in a not-so-prominent 37.1k shooting among strikers, mainly due to the existence of SS shooting skills. Due to the lack of bonuses outside the box, all breakthroughs have to be based on duel, and his defensive attributes, especially tackling, are really weak. Recommended build. I don't really recommend using this striker, so I won't detail the build scheme. Refer to other center-forward content. Conclusion: the striker is the most important position in this game, as the attribute to breakthrough and score is key to winning matches. Moreover, as most real-world star players are strikers, because strikers get more attention, many previous premium and icon SS players are strikers, leading to intense competition at this position. S+ strikers basically have no competitive strength. Currently, strong power attribute strikers include the recently released Son, previous Haaland, and Mbappe. Vlahovic is a level weaker than them, and due to the lack of out-of-box bonuses, his functionality is also poor. I don't highly recommend him, 3 stars at best. T.Wea. Also the game's first card for this player. This player's position is very interesting, able to play all right-side positions including RW, RM, RB, extremely rare in the game, providing great flexibility in team management. In terms of basic stats distribution, offensive attributes are all 11k, with shooting the highest at 11.6k. Defensive tackling is very weak, intercepting at 9.2k is average. Speed is okay, stamina at 1067 is too low. Traits and skills brief review. Main trait increases dribbling skill power. Main skill is S+ dribbling, bringing his dribbling value to 34.2k, an amazing breakthrough ability. Shooting with a plus skill and a trait enhancement, 32.3k power is passable, only relying on attribute advantage. Defensive intercepting at 29k is alright, but tackling at 25k is too weak. Build recommendation: S passing to learn. S intercepting if possible. S tackling isn't worth the resources. S shooting is also not necessary, the default A+ can be used as is. For this type of dedicated dribbler, stacking traits to strengthen dribbling attribute is recommended to make his play more straightforward. Other general traits are also good. SAP distribution. You can use this to strengthen offensive attributes. You can also appropriately increase shooting and intercepting attributes to diversify his functions, but don't forget the core dribbling skill. Conclusion: this card and today's CHIESA are very similar, both biased towards dribbling auxiliary wingers. CHIESA is stronger in functionality due to trait bonuses, but T.Wia's dribbling dominance is even more remarkable. However, his dribbling isn't top tier. It's hard to dominate against fully enhanced duelist defenders, and his other abilities are generally weak, making him only usable against side backs without strong tackling abilities. I'll give it 3 stars. Danilo. The game's first card for this player, the only seasonal card in this video, which can be obtained through event matches. As expected, his attributes are considerably weaker compared to other players. Position is RB and CB, but without blocking ability, so he's essentially an RB. Overall review: as a seasonal card, he lacks an S trait, and is a trait, which increases invincibility time after winning a duel, is almost useless for a backfield player, meaning he has no attribute strengthening. Main skill is S plus tackling with 33.7k power, which isn't very high, and his intercepting power of 29k is inadequate for a defensive player. Build suggestions: I don't recommend wasting resources on this card. It's evident that in this game, only premium or icon level cards are really usable. This one might have some performance in matches with rule enhancements, otherwise, it's just a filler for a 3-star lineup. I'd give it 2 stars. That's it for the main content of this video. This is the first attempt at a card review video. My database, data algorithms, player charts, etc. are all in the process of being created and will be continuously improved. If you have any thoughts or suggestions about the card review content, feel free to leave comments in the comments section. More detailed and intuitive card review videos will be brought to you in the future. Enjoy your gaming, and see you in the next episode.